it's been 2 years now since a fateful 26/11, when the entire nation stood still, hoping, praying to hear more than just gunshots out of two of premier hotels of Vamchi, Mumbai. As India pays homage to the martyrs of the 26/11 attacks, the Home Minister, P. Chidambaram, has sent out a stinker of a reminder to neighbouring Pakistan that the nation's promises once made has not been kept. Point blank, Mr. Chidambaram said Pakistan is responsible for bringing the perpetrators of the attacks to justice.
Our neighbor Pakistan made many promises to us that they will bring to justice the masterminds, the controllers, and the handlers of the 26/11 tragedy. They have not done so far. They promised me that they will arrest all the 7 persons whose names are handed over to them. They have not done that so far. They promised me they will provide voice samples of the persons whose names are handed over.
Well, time to move into some news from the markets and all the money matters right here on Business Line. Now, with more and more automotive and auto components manufacturing units making Chennai a hub in terms of investment, the city is fast emerging as the country's Detroit. Incidentally, over 13,800 crore rupees will be invested in Chennai by global car manufacturers by the end of 2010-2011. The proposed investment is significantly higher than other auto hubs like Gurgaon in Haryana. In fact, Tamil Nadu's industry secretary said that the total installed capacity in and around Chennai would be 1.28 million cars a year by the end of the financial year. But that figure is expected to go up significantly thanks to projects by companies like Ford, Hyundai, BMW, Renault Nissan and Mitsubishi HM that's coming up in the area. Well, the Sensex tanked earlier today thanks to the housing loan scam and the interrogations by the SEBI as well as the CBI. So how did the markets fare thereafter? Find out on Market Wall.
72 hours over since the news of the scam broke out, and the market situation has only actually worsened. We are getting into a weekend with the sentiment being extremely beaten down on the Lal Street. The markets corrected heavily once again, third straight day running, with the Nifty slipping below that 5,700 in intraday trade, finally recovering just about slightly to close the day about 50 odd points low, but well below that 5,800 mark that we've been watching for over the last few days. The Sensex pretty much moved in the same direction. The breadth is pretty much beaten down. Broader markets also seeing a very sharp cut coming through. Small cap index sold off, didn't manage to see any form of recovery even though the benchmark indices recovered. Small cap index ending the day nearly 4.5% lower. Mid cap was off 3 odd percent. The frontline indices also saw a cut of nearly 1 odd percent coming through. Sectorally, it was a weak looking picture. Every sector on the market sold off in trade today. Global cues also want to support it. Remember, by the time we shut shop, concerns about European debt worries were once again resurfacing in Europe, which meant that countries like Spain and England has also seen quite a heavy sell-off coming through in trade today. Well, those are the top losers on the Nifty, barring about 10 to 12 counters. All 42 stocks on the Nifty sold off in trade today. JP Associates was down 7.5%. It recovered from its day's lowest point, but still no reconciliation when you talk about the kind of losses this counter has seen in the last couple of days. Reliance Infra was off 6%, but it's not just Reliance Infra. The whole ADAG pack saw losses in the range of 4 to 8% coming through in trade today. Sasagoa was off 6%. Reliance Industry also trading very close to its very important support level of 950, ending trade at 962 rupees. These were the stocks that were involved in the controversy. India Infoline selling off over the last 2 days, continuing to look bad. Remember, India Infoline was the merchant banker for money control. The stock getting punished, 12.5% lower in trade today. LIC Housing, of course, that's where the scam started, about 12% lower on that counter. And Money Matters also in the thick of things, down about 10 odd percent in trade today as well, once again hitting lower circuit. A couple of other counters that were tainted by the scam: Hindustan Construction, apart from its problems of its own, where the Environment Ministry has offered a show cause notice, 286 NSCC, the stock taking a huge cut, down 19%. Central Bank failed to do any sort of recovery, 10-odd% lower. PNB as well sold off nearly 3-odd% in trade. Well, let's take a look at how the sectors actually panned out in trade, and there were a few sectors that saw a sharp cut coming through, and as expected, real estate stocks once again continue to sell off. Every big voice on the street continues to believe that the real estate space still looks very jittery. Orbit Corp 13%, India Bulls, DB, Unitech were amongst the top losers coming in from the real estate sector. Every sector, or rather every stock in the realty pack, saw huge losses in today's session. Banking as well, few gainers coming through, and that actually helped the banking regain quite a bit of its losses. OBC up 3%, BOI, SBI did decently well, iBank as well look pretty good in trade, with most people buying these stocks at cheaper valuations. Well, just moving on from those rare gainers coming in from the banking space, there were also gains in terms of the IT stocks. Remember, you've got NASSCOM that's clearly indicated that the IT sector is looking good. Patni up 2.5%, TCS, HCL Technologies was amongst the other gainers coming in from the IT space. So that was, of course, how the market spanned out. It wasn't a super day of trade, rather a pretty disappointing week. 2.5% is the kind of losses we've seen in this week. The start of the week was international concerns, ending the week with domestic worries. It's going to be important to what happens on Monday, as we've ended the day on a time, and globally as well things aren't looking very pretty. So fairly unfortunate, but all eyes will be on what happens on Monday.
Well, a tough day in the markets today. This is Headlines Now. Still ahead on the bulletin. Indians strike a golden hat-trick at the kabaddi and boxing rings of Gangshuao. That's coming up in just a bit.